快快的快着！Jibber Jabber podcast.
Start again.
Long ass intro again there, right?
Yeah, it was very long, and also I went live myself again. I've started to expect it at the end of the podcast where you just leave me on there, but at the beginning that's something new. So
always got to keep it fresh, mate. Keep it fresh. I keep meaning to shorten that intro, but I suppose it's a good thing because the viewers at home started to fill up while the intro was going, and we got to bask in my scales.
Basking your scales.
So this week, as you all know, we are primarily pop culture and movies, but we do like to go into the left a little bit and talk about inspirational stories. And we've talked about pretty much anything on the show, from aliens, sword fighting Texans to ghost stories, right through to Bitcoin and everything else. But today we will be chatting to Frank Lin, who is an entrepreneur, and he actually I kind of connected with him trying to set up a deal between him and another actor that was kind of helping out at the time start his Twitch, and through that, it just kind of naturally, when you speak to someone and you really enjoy their energy and you kind of just mesh. So through that, we kind of kept in touch, and a lot of parallels between he and I and this show and what he's doing. So we're going to find out today exactly, what it's like to take that jump when you've got, like, everybody works a 9-to-5 job and goes, how cool would it be if I could do this for a living? We used to say this, J-Mac. We used to say, how cool would it be to actually to review movies and get paid for it? And look, here we are right now, right? So
I know, very little, but we do get paid about it.
Mate, it's almost the dream job. So again, this conversation today is the way I look at it is value to everybody, ourselves, to Frank, and to everybody that's going to be watching the show today, live or afterwards, because you're going to learn. And I always say this as well: when you're learning something you want to do, there's always someone that's done it before you, most of the time. So go back and see how they done it and make it your own. Take the recipe for their success, kind of add your own spices and start cooking. Right, J-Mac, you looking forward to speaking to Frank?
Yeah, I like these kind of stories of moving what is maybe a hobby or a passion and moving it forward into a real kind of a real business is something you're excited to wake up in the morning and do. So yeah,
absolutely.
This is a very different kind of conversation for us, but the guy seems interesting. It's going to be fun.
Absolutely. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, Frank Lin. Hi
hey guys.
Hey Frank.
Hey, thanks for the invitation, guys. How's my audio? Is it too loud or how?
No, perfect.
It's actually perfect. It's probably one of the best that we've heard, actually.
Especially when they don't have a microphone. Yeah.
Hey, so for your audience who doesn't know, it's the microphone that I'm talking to you guys on. That is how I know Kevin.
Yeah. Oh wow. Right. That's class. Yeah, as you can see, I have a variety of microphones myself. This being the absolute beast of all microphones, but I do like a good microphone. It helps when you're a podcaster, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
But it's quite cool that we kind of connected through technology, and I kind of see that you're I don't know if I think the direction of your business now is kind of taking a different turn, and I think with that comes like adaptability, when you start out on the journey and you kind of realize what works for you and what doesn't, and kind of where it's going to go from there. I think that's a really cool thing for us to kind of get into. But we'll kind of just start it off, even for the audience, to kind of get to know you a bit, and just kind of, if we just going to get your background, because when we had our very first phone call, you were telling me before that you worked in banking and the financial sector. So maybe even just kind of walk us through how that started.
Sure. So typical Asian family. I'm Canadian born, but hardworking Asian family, you know, pretty stereotypical upbringing. You work hard, you go to university, you make sure you get a degree, and then you either land as hopefully all parents wanted you to land as a doctor or, you know, a lawyer or something like that. I ended up in banking, following in my mother's footsteps. My mother is a proud and successful retiree of the bank that I also worked for. So I went to university. I did an economics degree. I graduated, you know, went looking around to see what opportunities there were. And at the time, there was a pretty decent deal to do banking. And I've always been really hungry. Like, kind of, it's built into my DNA. Like, I give me targets or give me a direction or goals to meet, and I always find out what the parameters, what are the rules, and then I always find a way. And so blink of an eye, 18 years goes by, and my career at the bank became 5 or 6 different roles. It was like every 2 or 3 years I would get either a promotion or a lateral move to a new opportunity to learn new skills. And it was a rewarding career. I must say, it taught me a lot of things about corporate society and how to navigate the world. And ultimately, I'm here now. So 2 years ago, there was a couple of things that happened. I was among a team of investment professionals in like the 5th or 6th career at the same bank. And we were investment advisors, and our team was, when I joined, we were 11th in the country among our own bank in Canada here. And we grew the business together to become 4th in the country. Yeah, we did quite well. Most of the work was done by the partners because they had like a 20-year head start before I joined the team. But nonetheless, we did grow quite a bit when we joined forces and worked together. And then the proverbial, you know, midlife crisis, or you know, what is the meaning and purpose in life really comes around. Like, I guess a lot of human beings experience. I lost a dear colleague to suicide. He was going through a difficult time in his life. I won't share too many of his personal details, but ultimately, I was building, you know, a new part of my career with wealth management, and I also was growing a young family with the wife, and I had no time to uphold some personal relationships, including this friend of mine. And so he chose to go to God, and he left. And when that happened, coinciding with, you know, some falling out in the business partnerships, it really gave me an opportunity to rethink, who do I want to be? Who shall I be? And what is best for me, my wife, my family, and definitely what speaks to me deep is my children. What role model do I want to set my children? And when it really came down to it, I was like looking at my business partners, and I was like, if I grow 5-10 years from now and I end up looking kind of like them, I would not be proud of the father, the husband that I am, the son that I am to my mother as well. And so it was a terrifying experience to leave the career behind. But all of the circumstances combined really didn't give me a choice. And so that's the heartfelt why on this journey of mine. That brings me here to you guys. So that's been a roller coaster.
So far, so good, then. And when we kind of met, so you initially had a company. It was called Fhinix Goods, and it was primarily microphones, kind of like charging equipment and stuff. So was there a reason that you chose that as your product initially?
Absolutely. That's a great question. So went on a road of this self-discovery. Once you leave an 18-year career, that's all you know. Like, that's all I knew. I didn't have side jobs. I didn't have other things. I had passions in like sports and like, poker and those kinds of things, but I didn't want to build a career on poker or like trying to make it as a professional athlete, right?
Works for Dan Bilzerian, eh?
Yeah, right, exactly, right. And so what I ended up doing was, you go to the internet. I am millennial after all, an old millennial, but I went on the road of, okay, where's the world today and where shall it be going forward? And what is my best opportunity to not only succeed, but survive, most importantly. And so drop shipping is one of those ones that everybody who starts like an online journey tries to find the ways to earn a living on the internet. So you have drop shipping, you have Amazon FBA, you have a number of different things. And so what I was thinking was, hey, the world has you guys. The world has a number of people who aspire to be podcasters. There's a plethora of younger children or even older human beings who aspire to be professional esports gamers, which I was around that scene for a little bit in the startup land in Vancouver here, and YouTubers and all of the whole 9 yards of how to earn a living on the internet. So I was like, why don't I put together a store, sell physical goods, and I have an Asian Chinese background, so I shall be able to find and communicate with manufacturers in China. So why don't I put one and one together, right? And like, let's put together the tools that this growing audience, this gig economy needs, and make sure that I only sell products that are high quality. And so that's how I came with, phone chargers and then microphones, which was a phase ultimately. Yeah.
I mean, that microphone that you're using right now is really actually good.
It's decent for the price point. Absolutely. Like for like a startup. Yeah.
We must have went through how many crap microphones initially. See, when I go back, if you go back to our like very, very early episodes, and actually it's next week, we celebrate our 100th episode. And so if you go back to our very first one,
congratulations.
Thanks. But you go back to our very first one and I'm like, oh, I can't listen to that. It's just like
I know. Honestly. I think I was using just like kind of iPhone headphones, and you were. I think you did have a microphone, but it was like a $20 microphone.
I was using a metal can with a string. I plugged the string into my laptop. And I was like, "Hello."
That's awesome, man.
So always start from the start, and it's cool when you look back. That's something you'll be able to kind of relate to as well. When you look back on kind of where you've come. For me, I always I take the look back, and I enjoy the fact that I'm no longer there and I'm here, and then I look forward to where I'm going next, really. And I suppose that's kind of where you done, because you went from selling these really cool products, and it was just recently I went onto the older website and seen that you were doing a revamp. And then you had kind of explained that you were moving in a different direction. What kind of brought that on for you?
That's an excellent follow-up question, my friend. So the world conspires to help me. I am a blessed gentleman. I am a man of faith. I believe in God, and I also believe in manifestation. So what happened was, my wife is on this journey with me as well. So she was also on our wealth management team. She also left her position. And she also embraces the digital media, digital marketing world. And just to step a little bit back from the question to answer something else, is we're learning digital skills because our kids are going to need digital skills. They're growing up in a digital era. And so I don't want to hand off my kids to learn from other people, like teachers and tutors and after school activities. I'm like, why don't I go be and like learn to be the teacher to teach my own kids the skills that I want them to hopefully have, and be hands-on with that. And so what happened with the revamping and the change in direction for our career and our business was, my wife took an academic opportunity in digital media, and that necessitated that I pause on some things to focus some time around the children. We do this quite a bit. We feed off each other's energy, what's going on, and make things work. You know what I mean? And so when that happened in around September, October timeframe of last year, in the thick of like COVID-19, it gave me another opportunity to think about other things. And so I went into learning mode. I went onto the internet once again to learn, okay, wait a second, like drop shipping is one of those ways, but there's a lot of different ways. And so I went to learn more and more and more. And then I found Russell Brunson, and I found Tom Bilyeu, and I found Gary Vaynerchuk, and these people are the titans of the digital marketing industry, especially in North America. And what they have been really good at is building movement and building communities on top of the offers and experiences that they offer the world. So none of these successful people sell products and services. I mean, they don't just sell products and services. As a matter of fact, my viewpoint on the world, our viewpoint on the world is the companies that traditionally sell products and services are all failing. Most of them are, suffering immensely with not understanding their consumers, the customers. So on this journey of self-discovery and also leveling up and making it work, I learned that in the digital marketing space, you sell offers and you sell experiences. So when you think of the greatest companies in the world, Amazon, Apple, maybe Ferrari, these companies don't struggle with pricing. Customers who buy a Ferrari are not worried about how much money they're spending on their Ferraris. They understand that they're buying an experience, and they're just there to choose their options. Like how expensive can I get those rims, if you know what I mean, right? And so what is entailed there is these companies have figured out how to totally identify the need and the emotional purchase that their customers are actually engaged in choosing or considering their products. And so my pivot was, I can't start here with physical products before I've built my brand. And so we went down another rabbit hole of ours to, okay, what speaks to us? What are our core values? Maybe I'll share with you guys my revamp now on our core values going forward. Fhinix Inc. is now our new business. We actually just announced it to the world May 23rd. So today is 3 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah. And then the three core pillars are, we want to teach human beings how to build online income streams, more than one, so that you can have the luxury and choice of switching different income streams that don't speak to you as you are today. So you inevitably you grow and age and you become have more wisdom and knowledgeable. And as you grow, certain ways of earning a living no longer speak to who you are. Yeah. And so you have multiple income streams. You can switch some of them on and off, right? And a second pillar is relationships with what I think are the most important 4 relationships of any human being. You have your relationship with your children, if you have children. You have your relationship with your spouse, your parents, and then yourself. And so historically, we've really sacrificed our relationships in order to chase one single career, right? We go out to the world, we, work super duper hard. And then sometimes we run into a glass ceiling. Sometimes we run into corporate toxicity. Sometimes we were just working our asses off all the freaking time. Excuse my language. And then we come home and we're like drained. We don't have time or patience for our children. We don't have energy for our spouses, and we definitely don't have any time for, self-development. And so that brings me to my third pillar. Our third pillar at Fhinix Inc. is human beings need to taste fulfillment for there to be meaning and purpose in life. And one of the ways, maybe the only way to constantly taste and experience fulfillment is constantly be learning. So that's what we're really trying to do. We're trying to give people their freedom back so that they can figure out these other 2 things. We give you tools to learn more than one income stream so that you can refocus your priorities in life, experience better relationships with the people that are most important to you, and also taste fulfillment from always learning new things. So you can be like an expert podcaster, reach mastery in what you 2 do. And then you might decide, now I want to learn gardening. And then maybe I'm going to turn around and teach people how to do gardening. And then you might be like, I wanted to go on a 10-year poker run, and you can go learn, do that. But then you every day is new, and every day is like thrilling. And I always come back to the point of like, the happiest people on earth are children. And it's not because they don't have bills to pay. It's because they always go to sleep a better version of who they were when they woke up that morning, because they were learning. And so if I can help the world with that, that would be absolutely amazing.
That's quite the job to want. I can notice here we've got 2 teachers actually in the comments section there. One is Ladybird Lady, and she says quite right. Teaching begins at home. Then we've got Heather Dow here as well, another teacher. She says my son starts college in August to do creative digital media. Something I'd have thought would have been dead and merely 2 years ago. Now the COVID thing. It's the hot topic at the moment, I think. And she also goes on to say, teachers are great, but they need parents on board to help them develop the students too. Great point. So that is.
I'm getting chills. I'm getting chills hearing this from your audience. Totally what I'm thinking. Like, absolutely, guys.
Yeah. One thing that has happened to a lot of people during COVID-19 specifically is they've kind of reevaluated their life and what's important. Now, how scary was it when you decided to make the decision to leave those 18 years of your life in the dust? Was it terrifying, or did you just jump in with both feet smiling?
You guys, I love how you guys set me off on these wild ways to tell you guys things. So I have to tell you, I have to be honest with you. It is terrifying. And I want to say to you that it is still terrifying. How we have approached the exercise or the journey is something that the 2 of you mentioned earlier on this show.
Yeah,
somebody has done it before, and somebody has done it well before. And so I encourage people to invest in themselves. I encourage people to be like, don't try to figure it out all on your own. If you've decided that there's a certain meaning and purpose to your life, and you want it to align with your career, then you go and find the people who know what they're doing, and you go and learn from them. And some of them will have online courses. Like, we're building a ton of these online courses, which, by the way, early teaser, at the end of today's show with you guys, we're going to announce our big thing, inclusive of a giveaway for your audience. So that's going to be awesome. But yes, to answer Jay's question, that's a fantastic question. When we're learning, we are experiencing your body and your mind stretching, and that's always uncomfortable. But there are definite ways to fortify your mindset, to not give up on your passions, your dreams. And for us, no better institution or person to learn from. I have learned that strength from Tom Bilyeu and Impact Theory Studios. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, Google it. I do not have an affiliate program with them. I really should, actually. Tom and Lisa are some of the best human beings on earth. And they are out to build the next Disney of empowerment, though, in their words. Though that's their words. But that's how I learned to work with that. Yeah.
Wow. It is quite a daunting prospect for anyone, really, to say, I'm going to take this path, because we as a society now we exist on a conveyor belt that is, I'll go to school, learn how to talk, write, and kind of do the bare minimum, and then I'll go straight into a job, earn money, have a kid, get married, and then just wait till I retire. And I think it's lost. I think I mean, when I was at school, it was never kind of instilled in me. By the way, you can find like the thing you love most doing and try and figure out a way. Like, it was never in the mindset. See, when I probably about maybe the last 5 years, I kind of thought to myself, like, because, and this is something that people still haven't clicked onto yet, right? And we're already moving so fast, is the kind of world we live in now, right, is not like the world that we grew up in. Absolutely. Now you can literally create a job. You can create a job, as before you kind of had to look for one, right? It all depends on how you engage with someone, and are people willing to buy into that. It can be an idea. Like, look at how many people are on Twitch every day, right? Just streaming games they love. So imagine, like, 20 years ago saying to someone, you want to play the Nintendo? How about we pay you like 10 grand a month to play the Nintendo in front of everybody?
Yeah.
Like, is that not the dream job? But yet now that's so possible.
That's possible. Super awesome. Super awesome.
And I think the biggest issue is, and this is why I always say that we are the tweeners, like our generation is the tweeners. The generation that came before us can't get their head around playing the computer and making money. No, what you need to be doing is doing hard graft. Mm-hmm. Oh, all right. How much do you make doing hard graft? right? And then the kid that's 12 at home sitting playing Call of Duty can buy a house and after 3 months worth of work, right?
Yeah.
I think us as that generation have to kind of bridge that gap, because we in history are the only generation that got to live with and without the internet, and I think that's powerful.
I love how you take. I never actually thought about it like that. But yes, I echo all of those sentiments. We had definitely the luxury. That's how I want to think about it all the time. We had the luxury of seeing the world before the internet, and what it actually means when somebody says hard work, right? And then we also grew up with all this tech, and so we uniquely have that good combination of being able to learn from the wisdom that came before, yet use all the productivity of the new and shiny objects of the tech tools. So we are out to change the world. I know it, and so that's again why we're doing what we're doing.
Yeah. So when you everybody has that moment where they wake up in the morning, right? The alarm goes off and they go, "Do I just call in and say I'm dead, or fine, I'll go in," right?
Yeah.
So for you came to that moment where you were like, "Nah, it's time that I take my own path here." One that people don't take, as people would love to. They probably think about it every single day, but they don't. What challenges was it that you faced when you decided, yes, you know what, I am? Like, I imagine, did you already have blueprints in your mind written down? You must have had some sort of idea as to where you wanted to go, and how hard was it to kind of get that started?
That's a very good question. I really love how the theme of where our conversation today is going, because a big part of our development of our empire right now does get lost, specifically the mindset side, which is what we're talking about on today's show here. I don't know where to start with that one, because there isn't, contrary to popular belief and what maybe people see in the movies or the thing, there isn't really a defining blueprint. Oh, I know I can do this. It's really like, for me, it was like move or die. And I can't let myself, like, not physically die, but like emotionally and like psychologically, like. And for me and us, I guess for all three of us, we grew up watching the likes of Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant and all these people who, like, what do you mean you're 17 years old? You're going to walk into the league and say that you're going to be the best basketball. Like, where is the audacity? And then all of the, the 20-year career. And my biggest idol is Kobe, right? So like the concept of like all of the world said you couldn't do this. Everybody outside of LA was booing you like through the roof. And when you missed the shot, and the shame and the pressure, and then all that Kobe did was like, that's my only thing in life. Like, outside of like having my wife and my kids, my only love is basketball, to the point where when he retired, he wrote like an Oscar award winning love letter to basketball. To, like, if you don't know the story, go Google it, right? Like, so I really saw a scenario where we, once again, lucky enough to be able to see those who came before us, who went to chase their dreams, absolute dreams, and defy all odds. And also like the judgment. Think of this, right? Our society has these metrics. When we go to school, there's like, 60, 70, 80%, 90%, whatever, right? And then A's, B's, C's define who you are as a student, and how much work you put into studying, all that. Now get this. I always say this to anybody who listens to me. Kobe had a 20-year career. Doesn't matter that he got hurt some of those years. Like, I'm not discounting any of the years. 20 years, he had one goal each year: win a championship. Anything short of holding the trophy is a failure. So he has 5 championships, right? The mathematics there are that he failed 75% of the time on his goal. And so when you kind of frame and then you look in your reality and be like, this is what the reality the world wants me to believe is. And here's the reality of those I admire and have done things that make them gods, right? No dispute. Kobe is a god. Because when he retired, when he said he was retiring, every single stadium who hated him gave him a standing ovation. And so he changed the course of history by hard work, right? He outworked everybody, and he got his 5 rings, which is a failure mathematically. 25% success rate, 75% failure rate. 5. Yet he's a god. And so I was like, you know, when I hit those moments of fear, when I hit those moments of, oh, who am I? What makes me think that I can do this? It's like, well, other humans have done it, and what they lived off of was drive, which I have. What they lived off of was learning, which I'm learning to learn, right? Like, and we have now the internet, which is, it's all there. Like, you just got to sit down and turn off Netflix and turn off, you know, put the liquor bottle down, right? And then sit there and watch hours and hours and hours of learning. And then inevitably we grow. I know I go on long tangents with my answers, but like, we are the animal, by the way. We are the animal that has the superpower of adaptability. We're not the strongest. We are not the fastest. We don't have the thickest hides. We don't have a lot of things. We're actually the weakest when we are born, but our superpower is that we learn and we adapt. So when we frame and understand things like that, you reposition all your priorities in life and reposition all the things and go for your dreams. You sit down and you build your own blueprints, because no plans go according to plan.
Well, that's the truth.
Did you have any particular kind of low points after taking the leap?
Yeah. So the pushback of the calling, as Russell Brunson calls it. So if you're watching movies and you're watching or you're trying to study these greatest people of all time, in their stories, in their lifetimes, there are always, okay, I hear my calling from the universe. I'm out to serve in my particular way that I want to. And then they always run into a speed bump or a pushback of the calling, where, am I really going to be the hero? Can I actually do this? And if your why is strong enough, then you have the armor to fight those battles. And so for us, it's like, I will not be a failure as a parent to my 2 young kids. I will not be a failure to my wife. And I won't be the failed son who ends up on their couch. Right. And so for me, it's like, you're going to fail a whole bunch. If you're out to chase massive dreams like we are, you're going to, you know, but you only need 1, right? And in Kobe's instance, you need 5 rings instead of 20, right? But failing is actually the greatest way to learn. Avoiding is not. Getting prepared is not. Like, I have no disrespect to those who love planning, who do really, really good jobs of, you know, executing on plans. But the truest way to build airplanes, build rovers and put them on Mars, build 5G, build AI, is you fail a shit ton. And then, you know, through all of the iterations, you come on the Ubers of the world, the Amazons of the world. And yeah.
Amazon is,
by the way, the jibber jabber podcasts of the world.
One day.
Thank you very much. We can come back to this. We'll show this as a clip when it happens.
Absolutely. We've kind of, from the beginning, I mean, for a lot, we're actually going to go really into it on our 100th episode. But when we kind of got together as a podcast, myself, I'd been in music for years. That intro that you heard at the start was me, like, playing all the instruments and stuff, right? So I've been playing music for years, various instruments, mainly guitar, and I was always in bands with people, and I always believed that my future was going to be in music, touring the world, etc. Obviously, music on the decline. So even if you are amazing, chances are you're still not going to make enough to make a living off it. But I always,
let me jump on that in a minute. What you just said, I'm like, I'm getting chills jumping on that in a minute. Go ahead.
So I kind of was like, right, I need to find another way of being creative, because I can't just be the guy that goes to work, comes home and just chills. I need to have something to throw myself into. And even now, every single day I work on my podcast. There's no way I'm not working on something. So J-Mac and I actually worked together, and our common interest was movies. So we'd always talk about movies. He would do impressions, we'd laugh. It'd be a great time. It wasn't just a conversation, it was a great time. And people around us started to pull their seats up and kind of watch us talk. And I was like, there it is. It's a podcast.
Not the most productive company in the world.
So we started the podcast by becoming an MP3 podcast. You could listen to us on Spotify, and then we upped the game. We went to video, and then we started going live. Like you say, we got to keep learning and keep growing. And I thought, at least with the live element, our audience can react to us and chat with us and be part of the show in real time. And a lot of people at the same time had told me, I don't know about yourself, J-Mac, but they kept saying to me, podcast is stupid. Who the hell do you think you are, Joe Rogan? Your podcast, how many podcasts make money? You never make money. And now every month when our ad revenue comes in, I'm like this.
Exactly.
There is no greater feeling than going like that. I'm just going to go buy something with the money I made off a motherfucking podcast that you said would never make money, motherfucker.
Exactly. No, hey, like, definitely. Keep doing what you love, and because you love it, you're just gonna get good at it, because there's no real way to get good at anything except keep doing it, right? Like that's the only actual way. Like you can learn from all the best, which is what I preach as well, but you like learn, you can also get into this cycle of loving learning and not actually ever going to go do, which is like a whole story for another day. But very, very quickly, there's so many people who aspire to make money on the internet, but there's so many that fail, and they fail because, they don't put in the repetitions. They don't put in the reps. By the way, I have to say, J-Mac, your video setup is fantastic. I have to learn something about the lighting and how you, like, what camera you're using, but it is like sharp as like awesome. Like, and guys who are watching this, like these two are over an entire ocean on the other side of the world. And I'm like, I'm not just in Canada. I'm the farthest from them in terms of where we are in Canada. We're in Vancouver, like the literally opposite sides of the world. And that we can do this in real time live, truly should be like, if you were looking for a sign, this is the sign. Anything is possible. Like we're talking in real time on stream. Like think about that.
Yeah, it's the technology. I think it scares me how fast this technology has moved. I mean, 20 years ago, 20 years isn't a long time. I mean, 20 years ago, I had already left school and I'd started working. So it's not that long ago. And in that time, the leaps and bounds made in technology is frankly terrifying. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
I remember when Netflix came out, and I was like, "Oh no, my connection will never handle a movie. Streaming a movie, nah, you've not got it physically. You can't watch it." But it just goes to show now, eh?
Did you ever have Netflix when it was a DVD rental service?
That was called Love Film.
I did not actually.
Love Film and then Netflix.
I don't know if they had that part of their business in Canada. I think that was just in the United States, but I could be wrong. I don't know.
Right.
I've still got a few of the DVDs sitting in my house.
Not only are we streaming nowadays, like we're streaming like wirelessly sitting in a subway. Like it's one thing to stream on your television that's all wired up to the wall, right? But now we're streaming on these things, and they're like in the middle of a subway wirelessly. That's so so crazy.
It was a few months. A few months back, myself and my wife went for a country walk. So we were in the middle of a forest, and we were having a conversation about something. And I asked her a question. She's like, "I don't know. I'll look it up." And she took her phone out, and she's like, "Oh, I'm not getting a signal." I was like, "You're getting angry at the fact that you can't get a signal in the middle of a forest, in the middle of nowhere. That's how much we expect of technology now."
Yeah.
It's like if you get any slight hiccup in it, we freak out. That's how much we rely on it.
I have to backtrack a little bit. Thinking back, just while you were saying that, something came to mind in terms of J-Mac's earlier question to me. So along the way, there were some aha moments for me. And one of those ones you guys are going to love because of the fact that we're tweeners. So one day I'm with my newborn child. At the time, I think she's months old. And my son at this time is around 5 or so years old, 5 or maybe 6, maybe 4. I forget. So in that time zone, I hand him a disc, and then I say to him, "Can you help Daddy?" Like my son, my older one, "Can you help Daddy put away the CD?" And my son says to me, "Daddy, it's not a CD." And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "It's a Blu-ray." And that was like, okay. So like that's an aha moment for me, because like I'm a millennial. I can't end up being the generation that has a generation gap with my kids as it relates to technology. Like, no way, man. But he was so right. It was a Blu-ray. It's not a CD. Actually, he doesn't know what a CD is. He's like, what's a CD? I'm like, okay. So yeah, along the way, like when you're looking or thinking about things all day, every day, certain things come into your world that were always there. It's just that you weren't switched on to notice them. But when you're thinking about them all day, every day, then they reveal themselves to you almost. And then you can harness the energy and use it as resources to go chase your dreams.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I kind of think that where we are in society now, as well, as a lot of people, like, I think if you weigh up the people that believe in themselves and believe in their abilities against the people that don't, I think you'll find that the people that don't are far greater than the people that do. Do you think that that's something that's being instilled in people at school, or like some kind of indoctrination through TV? Why do you think so many people don't believe in themselves? I mean, they'll believe in themselves to go through university to become a teacher. But if you said, hey, what's your passion? Oh, it's going and painting pictures of ducks. But I'll never make money doing that. Straight away, they're talking themselves out of it. Why do you think that is?
I love how, in case the audience doesn't know this, we didn't script any of this. This was like, we had an idea what we would be talking about, but like this real-time stuff is just magic. I guess I'm getting like non-stop goosebumps and chills. So another reason why we're building our business, not to over-promote myself here, is because how often do we sit around friends and family and colleagues and we say, what's wrong with our society? What's wrong with the school systems? This and that and that. What are we not happy about life and careers and all that? And then, but right after we say these things, we always, jump right back, or we take a step back and say, that's somebody else's problem. The school board needs to fix that. The government needs to fix that. Like, society needs to fix that. But nobody takes it upon themselves to be like, no, this is my problem. I need to fix that. So what am I talking about as it pertains to Kevin's question? So many people don't believe that they can, or don't even dare to even dream that they can. They lost their ability to dream somewhere along the way as they were growing up, because our school system was built to put human beings into make them become cogs in like a well-oiled machine. And I don't know if the affluent or wealthy individuals in the world purposely did it by design and like with massive conspiracy, or was it just the way that society played out? I like to believe that society just played out that way. So here's the thing, right? Do you guys both have kids, by the way?
Yeah.
Okay. So here's the catch-22. We have a whole world, majority of the world, the teachers that teach us our knowledge in school went through school learning to be teachers. No disrespect. I love all the teachers that taught me all the things that I know, right? But what's majorly lacking in the school system is they never went out to work a regular job. They didn't have to make anything work. Like, no disrespect. Once again, I don't mean to point fingers or whatever, but I'm saying like the system's broken because you have it's kind of like having the blind lead the deaf. Like these individuals, like we'll teach you the skills. Now you go make it work in the real world, right? You need to go learn how you should do budgeting, and then how do you deal with the emotions of like wanting to do something and your spouse doesn't want to do the same thing, and how do you deal with communications? Like, you have a whole system that is built to fail from the beginning because you don't have people with like actual experiences teaching other human beings how to live lives that are built with experience.
We've actually got someone, in the comment section here saying, oh my fucking God, I worked in so many places. And then she says, like, in the real world, and she's also a teacher. Yeah. Since I was 15, what the fuck?
Sincerely have nothing against teachers. I love them. But like, yeah, isn't that the biggest joke we play on ourselves? So coming back to like, how do so many human beings, like 90+% of the world, does not dare to go chase their dreams? I hope that the three of us today change that, right? And what I mean by that is, we weren't taught to go chase our dreams. We weren't taught to like suck it up and work through the pain and work through the terror and work through the hiccups and work through the failures. We were taught to be like, if you fail, you should really hide it and not let people see, right? And when you apply for a job, you should write all the good things on your resume, and then you should take the prettiest things and make them your areas to work on. Like, totally flawed system. It doesn't work that way. So that's what I think as it pertains to people and chasing dreams. I think we were not, unfortunately, raised in an environment by no design. I actually don't believe anybody purposely made it so that mass parts of society fail. But we're in 2021 now. I
think with regard to teachers, I do think teachers, that is kind of the profession that when they're going through university and stuff, I think they do the sucky jobs. I would say maybe, I don't know, apprenticeships, like for building sites, maybe they'd be the kind of jobs, like, because I know plenty of people that have families that own businesses, and as soon as they finish school, they've never had to worry about what it's like to try and find a job. They knew that they would follow in those steps because the parents will kind of just usher them into it. But I would say, I mean, the teachers are going mental in the comments section.
I apologize. I don't mean it disrespectfully.
Like they're raging because I think definitely the two teachers in the comment section, I know they have definitely had some crazy jobs. And I got another comment there from Ladybird Lady who says, I have teacher pals who worked in the shipyards. I had to work to pay for my fucking train in uni.
So Ladybird Lady, that is the type of teacher I want to learn from. But I'm not calling out those people who worked hard to become teachers. I'm not. I'm talking about like the vast majority, however, that I know of anyways. They're like, from where I'm from, and which is just a tiny part in the world, I recognize that. We have systems that don't have these people who work hard in shipyards. And so if you guys have a system where you have people who work multiple jobs to become a teacher, those are qualified people to be great teachers. And I need to recognize when I see a blind spot of mine. Definitely.
As what's it? Life lessons, really, isn't it? Just proper life lessons. I know that Heather Dow, so she says, my dad became a teacher when he was 44 after owning his own business for decades.
That's excellent.
Yeah, Heather happens to be my sister, so we've got the same dad. And he, I think it was in the late 80s, there was a recession that basically caused his building business to go through the floor. So he went to university at the age of 40. And he retired a teacher, and I think he was a construction worker, builder. He'd been doing it for decades, and I think when obviously it was a terrifying thing when that all went away, but he just thought, right, teaching, that's what I'll do. But it went into a subject that was relevant to the life that he'd led before that, and I think that's something that's important as well.
Let me take the mic quickly, just because I love how the chat's blowing up. Because no, hear me out, guys. So for you guys in the chat, and hopefully we didn't turn anybody off and all that. Listen to this next part here. So I have never been on a live stream interview before, and this is exactly what I'm talking about. Like, the fact that the chat's blowing up makes people in my position, or people who want to be like doing what I'm doing right this moment with the two of you, it makes people not want to do it, not want to speak their mind, or be judged right in society, because they're so scared of being like wrong and being identified of being wrong. So I love how I'm wrong in this specific instances as I'm talking about teachers, because this is what it actually looks like, right? Like when you go and try to do things and speak your mind and embrace failure massive epically, like the chat blowing up, that's awesome, because it's massive learning for me, right? Like I want to live a life of empathy, and so this is what it really is like. So I just wanted to point that moment of learning out. Like, I apologize once again. I don't mean disrespect to any teachers out there who have their way to being an awesome teacher. I really did not intend it that way, and I hope that you take my honest and wholehearted apology there. I didn't offend anybody.
No, not at all. So you were saying earlier about the rewards, about when you're betting on yourself, learning and stuff. What were some of those rewards for you? Like, when did you like, for example, when we published our first episode and saw it on Spotify? Like, wow, that to us was like, that's the first step. Next, and for us, it is all about those little golden nuggets. Just seeing an episode blow up with a lot of views for us, and then the comments, no pun intended, but usually the comments will have people say this was a really good interview. For example, we had a guy on the show who talked about killing aliens with a samurai sword, right?
Wow.
Of course, it sounds bonkers, right? But
Right.
the way we interacted with him and the way we treated him was, the guy had been on really big, he'd been on like American news, he'd been on really big podcasts. So for us, we were like, it was quite good that we got him, because we're quite small compared to the podcast he had been on. But of all these podcasts, the number one thing that we kept getting was, you guys done the best interview with him like that anybody is, because people brought him on, laughed about him, and didn't they give him the kind of time of day. And the way we approached it was more respectful. And even though the stuff you probably might not believe that he's done in a few aliens with a couple of samurai swords, right?
Yeah.
But we treated it like, imagine we three of us worked together and you came in one day and was like, guys, never gonna believe it, right? And we're like, what? No way. But what about this then? And we treated it like that, because it wasn't our job to disprove him or to prove that he was right. It was our job to listen to him, and we done that, and that reflects it in the. So for us, that was like a golden nugget. So what for you? What are some of your golden nuggets for when you started on your own journey?
So I'll try to give you two short stories. Try my best. For me personally, when you try to do what we're trying to do, we go out to the world and we test in real time. And so I am paying for different courses, paying for different challenges, paying for different mastermind groups from the likes of like Tom Bilyeu and Tony Robbins and Dean Graziosi and Russell Brunson and these people. And then these people, like when they launch a course, they get thousands of people who sign up. And like our real life scenario is, they sign up for the course thinking that it will change their lives, but then they come across needing to do all the work to get through the course. And so how I where I experienced these nuggets is, I tried to, build smaller groups within these people. Like, let's do the work together. Let's do watch parties. Let's discuss the material. Let's talk it through. And in that doing, you learn that there are things that are in your mind and in your experiences that you can help other people. So one of those examples would be, like, I set up a corporation here in Canada. And when we set it up, we went to a lawyer, and then we talked to the lawyer about having 2 young kids. And then, how do we build the corporate, set it up properly from day one, where we can seamlessly add the children into the business and not maybe lose control of the business to the children before they're mature and ready for it. And so that's when the lawyer taught us, you should set up multiple share classes and how you should what to do with the corporate structure. And so when you go out and you learn things, and then you learn skills. And when you kind of out in the real world learning other things, you find that what you learned before is useful to this new group of people that you're working alongside of. And where I found that I can run fast enough to learn fast enough over here to help a whole bunch of people over here, that was like a big aha moment on how and why we think we can do what we're trying to do. The second story is a Gary Vaynerchuk story. He's on stage in front of a live audience. A younger gentleman, probably in his early 20s, stands up in front of a live audience and says, "Hey, I admire you. You're awesome." The whole audience is there for Gary Vaynerchuk. They all know he is a titan of media. He's awesome. He's awesome. This young gentleman proceeds to say that his previous venture or business failed, and that he set up a new business just yesterday. Now, Gary tries to make sure that he understands properly. He's like, you set up your business yesterday, just to make sure he understood. He was not like making fun of the child, the person. The audience didn't know that. So anyway, the child, I keep calling him a child, but the individual, the man, the 20 plus year old man says to Gary, "Actually, I don't have a question. What I'm here to say on the mic is I want to set up a meeting with you, because I believe that there is a value exchange, that I can give you and your business value. And there's definitely things you can help me with. When he said that out loud, the whole audience laughed at him. Like, you're asking Gary Vaynerchuk, the busiest man on earth probably, to give you when you just set up your business yesterday. Okay, so I watched this and I watched this and I watched Gary. Gary on stage did not laugh. He did not flinch. He just continued to listen, understand. And then once this gentleman finished his pitch, Gary said, you know what? Imagine I do this. I get this probably 8,000 times a day, like people wanting to work with me, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But you know what you should do is email me, Gary@VaynerX.com. He gives his live email in front of a live audience. And by the way, there's YouTube as well. So the whole world now knows his email. And he says, I have a 3-hour flight coming up. And in the subject line of the email, you write, young gentleman with a crazy shirt or something crazy like that. Like, it needs to be that specific so I can find your email among thousands of emails. And if I read your email and the value exchange makes sense, I'll fly you out to New York and we'll talk about it. So the audience goes deaf, like it just goes silent, because like, here is an individual who has no rhyme or reason to give this gentleman time of day. He's already Gary Vaynerchuk, but what he did was he had mass empathy. While the audience was laughing, he was like paying attention, and he gave actual value to this gentleman to say, you took the at-bat, right? You took the at-bat to ask for an opportunity. I'm giving you that opportunity. Write me a good email. If the value, it makes sense, he'll do it. Not only does this gentleman who had the balls to ask the question get the opportunity, possibly, Gary just won the whole crowd. He showed the audience what it means to be a good person. And those moments where I'm sitting there and I catch myself recognizing what these people are doing in real time feeds my ego of, okay, I can probably learn decently fast enough to know that I can do this. So that was another golden moment for me, where in real time a lot of things are going on, and I get to see how Gary in real time wins over everybody in that audience in a way that is non-conventional.
Yeah. I like Gary Vaynerchuk. I read his 2 books. I do find him sometimes he does come across quite. I've seen him come across quite dicky. For example, a guy was like, "Hi Gary, my name's blah blah. I've got a new book coming out," and Gary's like, "My book's going to outsell yours."
Yep, he's pretty relentless. He's pretty like, Kobe Bryant sometimes.
If I was in the audience, I'd be like, right, and like, you know what I mean? So I do see that, but the guy has a lot of value, and he does bring a lot of value. He teaches a lot of people, and he's one of the guys that stands atop that hill and kind of opens people's eyes if they take a chance to read his book. We have Donna Anderson in the comments asking you a question here. She says, has Frank ever found himself in a proper crossroads situation? If so, is his personal life or is his career ambition that drives his decisions most?
Proper crossroads situation. I might need Donna to give me some examples as to what she means by that. Like, I mentioned losing a friend to suicide. I mentioned having to not die, like emotionally and psychologically, and then choosing to walk away from an 18-year career. I don't know if that's kind of like what she means there, but like, as it pertains to like darkness and personal suicidal thoughts, or I have not struggled with those things. I've been lucky or blessed, I guess, in that sense.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. J-Mac has always, when we met, we worked in the same place, and sometimes J-Mac, you yourself get a bit down on things that you think, well, if I had maybe started this a bit earlier or whatever, but I mean, I don't know if you truly know that, you know, it's never too late to, like you even said before, your dad was at the age of 44 when he decided he wanted to be a teacher. Is there any kind of wisdom you could pass to J-Mac to kind of to send a rocket? I like to think that I've done a wee bit to kind of open his eyes, because as you said before as well, you know, the audacity to ask the questions that most people won't, that's so me, and I've kind of shown that to J-Mac. Absolutely.
I don't know that I am, you know, I have a lot of audacity, I have a lot of ego, but I don't know that I have the audacity to give anybody wisdom. I'll give you my thinking. My thinking is, take a hard look. I'll preface it by saying I learned it from Tom Bilyeu and Impact Theory University. He goes down the road of, how do you feel about yourself when you are by yourself? so powerful. When you might be naked, I'm not making it a joke. Like if if you're in the darkness of the night, you walk into a room of your own. Probably,
I am naked. I am naked.
But when you walk into a room like that and you're in darkness, total darkness, none of the adoration, none of the career accolades, none of the $1 trillion of printed money, none of your sports cars, your clothing, none of your Supremes, your shoes matter. You're in there in darkness by yourself. How do you feel about yourself when you're there? Those moments of time where you should be doing some meditation, you should be experiencing flow state, you should be running wild with your brain. Your most valuable asset is your brain. Those moments allow you to get in touch with what is most important. And with me, it's my relationship with my wife, my sanity with myself, my dear, dear love with my children. I chose a career path and will run to the ends of the earth to make it work, because my current choice in career allows me to spend time with these people that I love. And so when the why is so transparent and honest and direct for me, I don't need to look for energy from other locations. I don't need necessarily to find encouragement. I don't need, like, I'm getting chills describing it to you guys, because I love my relationship with my kids, that I can participate with every part of who they are in their upbringing, because I'm sitting at my desk working from home and my children are in my proximity, especially during this last COVID year. And like, I gain more energy in what I do than what I'm doing takes energy from me, if that makes any sense. Like the things that I'm doing gives me more energy than takes energy from me. Then you can battle any, like if you have an endless reservoir of energy, you can win any battle. You can recover from any wound in battle. You can stand up and like regrow legs, all right? You can build the machines that 3D print your limbs or your organs or whatever fails in battle. And ultimately, you've burned the ships behind you, right? You're past the point of no return in an airplane analogy, and you must go forward because there's no other way. And so like, I don't think it's wisdom. I think it's just, when I learned from Tom Bilyeu, I understood what his version of clarity is. And I align with that thinking of, that's what passion looks like. That's what purpose in life feels like. That's what I can do to continuously taste fulfillment. And I want to do with Fhinix Inc., I want to give this to anybody who wants to join our community, build with me, help me build this massive movement, this massive community of people with multiple income streams. Chase your dreams, live your lives, love yourself and your loved ones. That's what I would probably say to that question, Kevin.
That's profound. That's profound.
For some people who are asking the question, because I get it all the time, I'm 39 years old. I'm happy to share that. A lot of people give me different things. They're like, you look like you're 20. You look like
I didn't want to say anything.
I'm 39. I have 2 young kids. I'm learning from my failures. Specifically today, from the chat, I'm learning.
Mate, they were a pack of wolves, mate.
Hey, I love it. I love it. I love how how your audience is engaged, and I love learning. Like, learning gives me fulfillment, and so when I fail, I have to, and like, I enjoy admitting that I'm wrong, and then I work hard to not make that mistake again. So
it's actually amazing. It's amazing how quick things can go from interesting to
hey, lives of redemption, by the way. Lives of redemption, the best lives, right? Like Kevin was talking about, right? Those paychecks when they come in, and then you're like, who said I couldn't do this? Like, those moments are like, yes, baby. Yes, baby.
Yeah. I think you've won them back, though, anyway. They seem to be fairly positive. They've put their claws away in the comments, and they're as you see there, Heather Dow says Frank would be good on a TED Talk. I mean, is that an aspiration of yours?
Hey, if I get that opportunity, I would love it, because as you guys can tell today, I have a lot to share. I have a lot of thoughts. I have a lot of learning and growth to do. I am not a saint. I don't have all the magical things in the world. I believe I have the keys to the universe, in that learning is fulfillment. But to Heather's question, it's not that I don't like learning from teachers. It's I feel that even teachers themselves have not been set up for success. Like
Mhm.
how I had a flawed understanding of what we had here today, as it pertains to me talking about teachers in the school system, is that is the example, right?
Mhm.
Of what I'm talking about is teachers were not set up, in my view, to succeed where they're properly recognized for the hard work that they do, properly recognized for, you know, the paths that they had to take to become a
Mhm.
qualified and good teacher. Um,
Mhm.
yeah, so
So
it's
just
a
a
long
quick story
story.
on Heather Dow. So she's a teacher, and obviously I know her personally. She's J-Mac's twin sister, and I can kind of share a wee story here about her as a teacher, which kind of is a proper is a great story, right? So she injured herself, right, and has been at home working from home, and then her work were like the teaching school, the school were like, we're going to sign you off because we don't have any need for you, right?
Oh no.
But Heather, right? So she's at home, right? Sick because she's hurt herself, right? And what the school have no use for her. They've told her, and the kids are all having their exams, and yet Heather still, when she doesn't have to, opens up her laptop and makes sure those kids that are doing their exams have everything. She's going through all their work, making sure they've got everything they need from her from her couch at home. So I think teachers they are beautiful creatures, and we need to put them on the pedestal that they should really be on. I think now. I mean, I think it's harder to be a teacher maybe now than it was back then. Back then, I had a teacher that told me to fuck off, right? And I respect them for that. I think now it's probably hard to be a teacher. So that's a story about Heather Dow. That's all, which kind of just speaks to, I think, not even just a teacher. I think it takes that kind of person to be a teacher.
I agree, and not to beat a dead horse, but I am not shitting on teachers.
I know.
I was mostly shitting on like the school system and how that was set up. So, if you're here with us, Heather, Donna, Scott, Ladybird, we love you. You guys talk everything that we know. I swear, like seriously.
We got so Donna Anderson kind of relates back to the question she asked before. She says an example of a crossroads situation, I mean, is two career paths in front of you. One means pursuing your personal ambition with more time to yourself but less security financially. The other allows you to gain experience and exposure to resources which will help you with your personal ambition, but is more taxing mentally and means less time for you in your personal life.
I love that question. I love that question right away. So here's the honest answer. When I left my wealth management, when I was considering leaving my team, wealth management wise, I had actually applied, and not too many people know this, but I actually applied to a competing firm. Now, when you are doing this in real time with wealth management, the difficulty is who are you going to write as your references on your resume or your CV? You're trying to not have your existing organization understand that you are planning an escape to a competitor. So you can't really go to your colleagues or your, prior situations. Now, this is a sad moment, which is why I'm struggling with this, because the person that I ended up going to was this friend who took his life. Mm-hmm. And he like within a month of him agreeing to be a reference for me, because not only was he a friend, he was a colleague. We worked together 6 years, and he has uniquely a qualified assessment of my strengths and weaknesses in the professional world. So with regards to the question is, I applied. They asked me to do a business plan. I wrote a authentic and honest business plan, which was, I did not want to overinflate my expected results as to how much business is likely to follow me to my new firm if they were to hire me. Mm-hmm. And the experience was the hiring supervisory body, I won't point any names or fingers, but they said to me, well, when you present, a business case, you can't tell me that you're giving me a reserved suggestion of your success. We need you to tell us the total top side, because you're trying to compete with other people for a job. And so like that was an aha moment. And it also gave me a choice. Like if I could have easily applied to the 3 other major Canadian banks in Canada and adopted that strategy and just totally overinflated what I thought would be possible, and I'd land a job. Like, to give you some perspective, my particular silo among my team was when I was hired to join the team, I was asked to do 10 million Canadian dollars in asset growth per year. We built 80 million in 3. Wow. So I was asked to do 10 a year. 3 years would have been 30, would be like you meet your expectations. We built 80, and still the outcome was, well, I'm here with you guys now talking about a new career. So it would have been easier, much more financially stable, much less scary to just go back into what I do well, which was go back to wealth management, just at a different firm, start from zero. But I have all the tools and all the connections and all the know-how and the knowledge around the wealth management industry. That would have been the easier path. It would have given me zero proper timing to do this, which I don't believe in doing things half like 1 foot in. Like you can't. When you want to do massive things, you can't. At least where I come from, you can't. And so yeah, that's just the one answer to that one.
Yeah, absolutely. Heather actually in the comments here says, "Don't worry, I totally agree. It's the system. We love to teach, but unfortunately we are tied by the system to teach mundane parts of curriculum to a lot of kids that don't want to learn it. If we could teach certain things, to teach certain kids, e.g. the kids that are practically minded and not overly academic, things that appeal to them and would help them be who they want to be without being told they're useless or going to fail, we should be able to take each kid and spend time focusing on what inspires them." Totally agree with that. Absolutely. That's kind of where the parent kind of teacher comes in now, isn't it? Because I know for a fact where my kids come into it, no matter what they want to do, even if it's going to be short-lived, I'm going to back them 100% until they realize it's not what they want to do. And then I'm not going to treat them like a failure. I'm going to say, right, so what do you want to do now? And we're going to repeat and repeat and repeat.
Absolutely. Hey, guys, I want to take this opportunity to do a tiny bit of self-promotion, but also just give some more concrete ideas to your audience as to what we're actually doing. So at Fhinix Inc., we've talked about, like, I'm trying to learn and then therefore teach the community in the online world how to learn digital skills to build your own online income streams. So examples would include like how to grow a proper YouTube channel the proper way, how to build your own merchandise store with no inventory, how and what is affiliate marketing? What are you doing there, and how do you do that ethically and properly? What can you do with your knowledge in your brain as it pertains to building digital courses? And then earlier, Kevin had said something about artists and musicians, and don't you guys get me started on NFTs. I know the world is thinking it's a bubble. I think that we could be watching another .com situation that happened in 2000, 2001 to 2003. But the sheer technology underneath all of it is insane. It's amazing. You can write a song, mint it into an NFT, and write into the coding of the NFT that any early supporter of you as an early artist gets a royalty payment from you when you become the Beatles. Think about that. Like the Black record, the very first record of the Beatles, you own because you happen to engage their music early in their career before they were the Beatles. But because you own that disc pays you royalties on the songs because they become the Beatles years later. Like that can be written into smart contracts in NFTs. And then Jack Dorsey sold his first tweet, which is unreal. Twitter is free. You go on the internet, you can see what his first tweet was. But he took that and sold it to a collector. He took the 6 words, minted it, made it rare because he minted it, and then he sold it one of one. He sold it for $2.9 million, and then he turned around and donated the $2.9 million just to prove the fact that, hey, we can take identical copies of digital files, and then we can properly recognize which one is the authentic version number 1 and which one is the copy, right? And the blockchain allows for that to happen. And so we are now just sitting at the beginning of this NFT era. Some people are calling it the internet 3.0. So 1.0 was internet, 2.0 was social media. And people believe that, hey, like so many people locked up at home, COVID-19, guess what's happening in their homes when they're sitting around their computers thinking and dreaming about what they can do with broadband, 5G, AI, and NFTs. Anyways, so yeah, those are some of the things that we're building. I teased earlier that we're doing an announcement today on your podcast. First ever, by the way. Nobody's ever even heard this. It's fresh out of the box. And maybe I'll have Kevin bring it on screen if that's okay.
Yep, I'll bring it up now.
Phinixinc.com/the-ask. So the announcement is that's our merchandise store. But if you type in the URL, I'll give you a new. No, that's the right one. Yep. Sorry,
that's the right one. Yeah.
So here's the announcement for your audience. First, okay, fresh out of the box. We are giving away for free our digital programs to teach people how to build online income streams. We're giving away 2 of our initial programs to the first 120 responders on this site. What it is we're asking you the question on the right-hand side over there. What is your number one question about building new income streams online for yourself or learning new digital skills relevant for today's world? All you got to do is tell me what your questions or what your challenge is. I need your name to give you your bonuses and the free courses. And then how we deliver on our promise is your email. And I won't tell you what the bonuses are because those are hidden behind after you submit. So I can tell you that there are 3 bonuses and I think that people are going to love them. We can't wait to see how many of your audience still loves me and loves us and wants to take this journey with us. Yeah, so that's the announcement there, you guys.
Cool.
Go.
Amazing.
Fresh out of the box. Nobody's ever heard this besides me and my wife. So
that's brilliant. I mean, look at that there. It's almost like the course that the teachers in the comment section were talking about. That kid that maybe isn't academically inclined but would like a course in something that they're interested in, which does seem to be today, and by today's standards, every kid wants to be a YouTuber because their heroes are YouTubers. I grew up loving Deep Purple, right? Freddie Mercury and all these great rock stars. The rock stars now are the YouTubers, and that's the reality. And I suppose this is kind of the way. I mean, you do offer the insight of the way to become your own kind of rock star.
I also want to pique your audience's interest. So if you wouldn't mind bringing back the screen and then the other tab that you had open, I wanted just to show your audience something over there. So this is the other tab, the one that says shop at the top.
Yep.
There you go. So Kevin, you're free to move around here. You can click on apparel at the top. You can move around. Right at the top, you see apparel, caps and beans, accessories. So this is our merchandise shop. Now, I'm not showing your audience this because I want you guys to come and buy a whole bunch of my merchandise. By the way, this is art. You know how earlier we were talking about selling microphones and then moving forward to a new thing?
Yeah.
So this is merchandising. We put our logo on a number of different items. We have clothing, we have hats. But I'm not here to promote my store. What I'm wanting to do is I want to tell your audience that we put this store together in 6 days. I want your audience to know that you can absolutely build your own online income streams in a matter of days. Now, you're going to need to, put in some time and effort to make the thing look pretty, to do your own designs and all that kind of stuff. But I joke you not. And I was in wealth management. I was not a digital anybody before this journey. Like I learned all of this. By the way, the website, just so you guys know, the merchandise store was done by my wife. And she was also with me at wealth management. So she also just learned how to put it together. So here's some basically when you're building movements online, you want to build a community. That is the truest way to build success. Exactly what Jibber Jabber has done. You have a community of people who tune in and hang on most of your words and love you, right? Merchandising is just one of the ways where people can represent They can wear your colors, is what we call it. They can walk around the street and they see your logo and they'd be like, what is that? And be like, oh, you got it. Like, that's awesome. You know, I tune into Kevin and J-Max thing once a week or twice a week, and they like have insane value. They teach me how to think about different things. They have guys who talk about cryptocurrency. They have guys who talk about like building new businesses, and have them wear your brand is one of those ways to earn a living and fund your dreams also, right? So I just wanted to show that it does not take, you know, mountains and mountains of work. It can take 5-6 days if you really decided that you wanted to do it. And that's the reason why I wanted to show this particular part.
Absolutely. The Donna Anderson, who asked the Crossroads question, says, thank you, Frank, for answering the Crossroads question. You've helped me with something I have been deliberating on for the last week or two. So there you go. You may have just changed the course of someone's life just from being on this podcast, which is mega value, even if that's the only thing that ever comes from that.
Hey, and Donna, if you heard my shameless plug earlier, come to the Ask site. Tell us what you think you might be struggling with. On the thank you, you can get me in terms of sit down to talk to you if you have other things that you're struggling with. Currently, because we're early in our build, I have time. When I become a Gary Vaynerchuk, and it's not an if, it's a when I become Gary Vaynerchuk, I will need you to write me an email so that I have so that I can dig through 3,000 emails on a 3-hour flight to find you. But now, uniquely in June 2021, you can get a hold of me fairly easily, and I'd love to help you more if you think that I have that ability, Donna.
Cool.
I would say
the connection
when you become Frank Lin.
Oh, I like that one. I like that.
There's
one
already
too.
a Gary Vaynerchuk. Hey?
I love that too.
Absolutely. So what kind of as we wrap up here, what's the I mean, it's not hard for anybody that's been watching for the full episode to kind of say, well, we kind of know what your future is, but you know, and it's not something you can say that you expect to happen in a year or two, because one thing, persistence, passion, and time, patience, right? So what do you see in your future, say 10 years from now? What's the goal to kind of just not the end goal, because I don't believe people like us have an end where it comes to goals, but where do you see yourself in at least the next 5 to 10 years?
So that's a deeper question that we haven't flushed out totally, because we're like doing so much. But at the risk of running against all the promotional and algorithm laws out there, the vision is for our children, to see and feel the empowerment that comes with my wife and I doing this, learn the skills as well, and then to have them lead their own journeys of self-discovery, motivate and move their own movements of people their age, their generation of friends, and build a better world. You know what I mean? Like I honestly believe that we are not past that point of no return. Humanity is beautiful, and like our children, they don't struggle with the inhibitions or the falsehoods of, oh, I can't do that. They have like massive, and so if I can role model the right behaviors on our journey, I'm really excited to see what my two kids are gonna do with their next 5, 10, 15 years.
As it's essentially paying it forward, leaving the world a better place than what you found it.
Absolutely.
I think with this episode now coming to a close, I think there's still so much more to talk about in regards to visions and stuff. So it would be interesting to get you back on fairly like this year and kind of see just what your journey has what's unfolded in your journey and what Fhinix looks like. Maybe even we could do another episode fairly soon when you've issued out the courses and the learning, and we can maybe even have people telling us what it's been like working with you and all that kind of things. Because I think it's evident as hell that a lot of our listeners tonight have had a lot of value given to them tonight. Don Anderson, thank you so much, Frank. I look forward to interacting further with you. Sincerely, you're the best since I sincerely wish you the best, the very best for your prosperous future. So it's definitely been an absolute positive one. On the subject of merch, Heather Dow, who actually is a teacher, but she's a woman that wears very many hats. She created our Jibber Jabber store, what you can find.
Yay!
jibberjabberstore.co.uk, and if you look right now down to the left, and I'll remove that banner that says the store. So you can actually get J-Mac. Usually we're wearing them on the show, but you can actually
I've got sunburn today, so I wasn't putting that
on. So you can actually buy Jibber Jabber hoodies and stuff. We don't pretty much make any money on it at this point. It's just a kind of if you want it that much, then if for us to kind of make money on it would drive it the price higher. So we would kind of like to give the people that tune in every week an opportunity to buy something that isn't expensive and kind of just works well for them. I mean, it looks nice as well. So make sure to go to www.jibberjabberstore.co.uk. Also go across to shop.phinix.com and you can find there all the merch there, and head to I've got that actually sitting up here, I'll banner it, www.phinixinc.com/the ask, because that's where it's all happening, the ask. And you know, Frank, we also have a Facebook group which is called the Jibber Jabber Community, and it's where we kind of go to. This is our
I'm following it already before. Told me about it.
So what you should do, you should actually come into like post in the community, and maybe even put a wee live video telling the guys that didn't tune in tonight, because a lot of people will watch this after. We find that we get a good viewing, but then it spikes afterwards because some people don't catch it live. And maybe just even go into our community group and kind of explain again what the ask is for people that might have missed this show or might not have tuned in, and just see if there's anybody there, because I know a lot of people that do watch this, they like value. I mean, I don't know why they watch us too, but I think we're
too humble.
The guilty pleasure.
If anything, I could stare at that poster behind J-Mac all day. Definitely.
Wait till you see the ad that we watched. Actually,
there's the sword
and the sword. I missed the sword. It was hiding behind you, my friend, for a little bit there.
We today actually text you saying that we were out filming an advert. It's actually because we're working with a local company that is a local cinema, and we're putting Braveheart on in the cinema with a couple of the actors that were in the movie, and we were out today filming a Braveheart advert, so look out for that. Right?
Kev, could you bring up a photo? Have you got a photo you could bring up?
I don't have one on my computer essentially to bring it up, but stay tuned on our social media.
As we're minorly extending the close here, I just wanted to also suggest that I can't wait to actually be with you guys in person in Scotland once the COVID stuff is done. I also invite you to Vancouver. There is if you haven't heard or known, there's a massive film production scene here in Vancouver. Actually, some of the greatest Hollywood hits are done in Vancouver. And I personally have some friends who are directors and producers in Vancouver. Not to mention Vancouver is in the same time zone as Hollywood, so you can easily like drop in Vancouver and then hop a 2 or 3 hour flight down to California and experience that as well. So we definitely should not only do this, we should get together at some point in our journeys, maybe in the next couple of years.
We are all about that. Absolutely. And we will be doing a bit of traveling as soon as the restrictions leave. So we will be closer to your neck of the woods as well. But you're always welcome over here. If you do come over, we do a lot of live events and stuff. So it would be cool to do our own TED talk, essentially. We'll do a Frank talk, right?
It's called
Talking Frankly. That's what we'll call it. Talking Frankly.
That's perfect. I love that.
That's his new podcast, ladies and gentlemen. You can find it at phinixinc.com.
You know what? I really had a thrill in final closing here. I really had a thrill time to today with you guys, your audience. I actually learned a whole lot. Like, thank you so much to the audience there as well. Great opportunity. It's my first podcast and live interview of any kind. And so to see some of you think that it was great, I love that. That gave me a lot of good energy. And thank you, Kevin. Thank you, J-Mac. No, I'm lost of words. Don't want to cry on camera here, but
no, the pleasure's all ours. We always one thing we always said when we started a podcast was, we'll keep the meat and bones about music. And not music, well, music sometimes, but movies and pop culture. But the one thing that we really do love is to interact with interesting people with great stories, and just people that really are worth talking to. And it's absolutely been that. And Heather Dow says there, haha, talking frankly, love it. That or frankly for the record.
That's
side show.
It's so good.
Absolutely. So, ladies and gentlemen, make sure to go ahead and check out Frank's websites that we've talked about, phinixinc.com, and do the ask. Do it at least if if there's one moment in your head where you maybe do need that bit of a shove and need that support system. It's there. So go ahead and check it out. Even just check it out. The first 150 gets
120.
120.
Yep.
Well,
for Kevin, for you guys, we're just right now in real time. We're moving it to 150. There we go.
Well, see, there we go. Value yet again. So make sure to do that. And this won't be the last that you hear of Frank Lin or Fhinix Inc. Absolutely. And on that note, we will catch you guys on Thursday for our box office banter where we review Cruella, and then on to our 100th episode on Sunday. And we will catch you guys on the flip side. Thanks again, guys.
Thanks, guys. Much appreciated.
Thank you.
Bye for now.